Ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to be doing something a little bit different. Lately, we've been talking a lot about story, we've been talking a lot about updates, but today we're going to be looking back through all of the various different Call of Duty games. From the very beginning, Call of Duty 1 till present day, Modern Warfare 2, and making a tier list based off of all of the Call of Duty games that have been released. I've done similar things to this before, where we have kind of ranked all of them from worst to best, but this one's going to be a little bit different. It's going to kind of place some of the games in similar rankings, and you'll kind of see where they stand in my eyes. For the sake of this video, we are only going to be looking at multiplayer. However, if you like this kind of thing and want to see me do something similar to it in the future with campaign, all you got to do to show me is hit that like button. But without further ado, let's dive into it. Let me show you exactly what I'm talking about. So this is the tier list. It's basically going to look like school rankings, where A is a top tier game. We are going to have the best game at the very top, and then I'll go all the way down to F being garbage, ones that I wouldn't recommend to anyone playing. And you're going to kind of see how I rank them going through. We're going to start off in release order when the games came out and kind of go through and talk about why I place each one in each location. Starting out with Call of Duty 1, I have to put this at F tier. Really, the multiplayer in this one wasn't really existent. It came kind of later and people played it more on PC later on, but at the time it didn't really exist. Where it started is with Call of Duty 2. Now, Call of Duty 2, I am going to put, it's tough between C or D, but I'm going to put it at D tier. To me, Call of Duty 2 is what made multiplayer for Call of Duty. The mechanics of the game as a whole were implemented in this game, but there wasn't really much more there. Yes, you could play game battles or things like that later on, but when it came out, there was no ranking system. It was just a really well-mechanicked multiplayer game, which at the time, if you played it back then, yes, it was amazing. It played so fluently compared to other multiplayer games, but compared to what we have now, if you went back and played it, I bet you'd play maybe 3 games and then be pretty bored of it. After this, Call of Duty 3, its multiplayer was garbage. If you've ever played it, you know exactly what I'm talking about and really don't have to say much else. Then we get into Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. This is where things are going to get controversial. I'm going to start it at A tier. But I'm going to say right now, I don't think it's going to stay there. The reason why I say that is because Call of Duty 4 is what made multiplayer. I know I said something similar about Call of Duty 2, but think about it. Call of Duty 4 added in kill cams. It added in create a class. It added in attachments, leveling up weapons. On top of that, leveling up your character, progression with prestiges. Basically everything that Call of Duty is now would not exist without Call of Duty 4 at all. It paved the road for Call of Duty as we know it, and it was amazing for that. But there was a lot of problems with this game. A lot of people look at this game with rose-colored glasses. The M16 and the MP5 were super overpowered. Triple frag was super annoying, and it didn't quite have as much as the games that I'm going to put in A tier. So I'm going to move this one down to B tier, but I will say this. This is as close to an A tier Call of Duty as you can get without being A tier. This is like a B++. It is so close. It just doesn't quite have enough, in my opinion. The next game we are looking at is Call of Duty World at War. This is going right into C tier. This is a worse version of Call of Duty 4. It really didn't make any changes on the Call of Duty 4 formula. Zombies, if we were talking about a game as a whole, might add a lot to it, but this is just multiplayer. So with this game, I ended up going back and playing Call of Duty 4 because it just wasn't as good as Call of Duty 4. I liked the maps. I liked the modern feel of Call of Duty 4 better. And World at War was just a World War II version of Call of Duty 4. They could almost have released it as an expansion multiplayer-wise, at least in my opinion. So yeah, I found Call of Duty 4 better. After this, Modern Warfare 2. This is going at A tier. I loved this game. Remember how we were talking about Call of Duty 4 and how there was a lot of things broken in it, and that's why I put it at B tier? Well, Modern Warfare 2 had even more things broken in it. It had one-man army noob tubes. It had ridiculously overpowered weapons with the UMP-45, the SPAS-12, things like that. But what they did in this game is everything was overpowered. All of the kill streaks, super overpowered. They all stacked. You could get nukes. For some reason, that nuke in that game was just easy enough to get that every single game I would play, there was a chance I was getting it, and that created fun for me. I look back at this game and absolutely love it. Yes, was it broken? Absolutely, but it was so much fun. Not to mention, it implemented various different things like calling cards and emblems. On top of that, multiple different kill streaks that you could select. It took Call of Duty 4 and brought it to the next level, whereas World at War kind of did the opposite of that. Speaking of which, the next game we have, Call of Duty Black Ops. I think this one's A tier as well. I think in my mind, it's a little bit worse than Modern Warfare 2, but some people might have it ahead. Personally, they implemented the original Call of Duty points, which you could gamble in gun game and things like that. And honestly, I really, really liked Black Ops. Some people didn't like it as much as Modern Warfare 2 or were waiting for the next Modern Warfare game, but I really, really enjoyed it. I liked the way the weapons played. Yes, there were some weapons that were overpowered, and yes, some of the maps weren't as good as Modern Warfare 2 maps, but I really enjoyed this game. If Modern Warfare 2 is an A+, Black Ops is basically an A-. Moving on to Modern Warfare 3. This is absolutely a B tier Call of Duty for me. For me, I liked some of the things that they did in this game. They added in point streaks. To me, I didn't like the maps as much. Adding in the Moab was different than Modern Warfare 2, but it was still good. Now, why do I put it underneath Modern Warfare 2? To me, it just didn't quite have the same fun factor. This is something I'm going to refer to a lot. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was the maps. I don't know if it was the way the game played. It just wasn't quite as good to me. I don't know whether I was just bored of Call of Duty, because the two games I probably played the most were Modern Warfare 2 and Black Ops. But to me, Modern Warfare 3, just not quite on the same level as the previous two. I think some people are definitely going to disagree with that. Up next, oh boy, Black Ops 2. This game is, to this day, to me, still absolutely incredible. Ranked play was fantastic in this game. Weapon balance was probably the best of any of the Call of Duty games we had up until that point. On top of that, they introduced things like DLC weapons, which yes, you had to spend money on, but I liked that being added at the time. There was so many different kill streaks you could use. They introduced the pick 10 system, which to me was fantastic. One of the best created class systems ever created. And the game just played so good. On top of that, a ton of really good maps. I think if you look back at all Call of Duties and say, which game had the best maps? Black Ops 2 has to be up there. But to me, this is the game that I'm always going to look at as the best Call of Duty. Now, there may be some things to compete with it that we can talk about later, but yeah, this one's the best. Up next, Call of Duty Ghost as a multiplayer game. This one goes low. I would borderline put it F tier, but no, it's not that horrible. It's going D. And the reason for this is, number one, the time to kill in this game was incredibly fast. If you weren't aiming down sights or camping or looking around corners constantly, you just got fried in this game, and it was incredibly frustrating to play. I also found in this game a lot of the weapons had no recoil, which even looking back to Modern Warfare 2, where I said everything was overpowered, there were still things like the F2000 in the game that were really bad. This game, it seemed like you could use everything. It would melt anyone in any circumstance, and to me, I hated the maps in this game. Some of the maps in this game were so big, you could not play them in 6v6. And back then, 6v6 was key. Ground War at the time was just big games on the 6v6 maps. And you could only play some of the maps in 6v6. And I just did not like this game. Maps are too big, time to kill was too short. And that was pretty much that. So after this, I believe this is where Sledgehammer put their hat in the ring with Advanced Warfare. Now, this one's tough to me. This one is either a C tier or a B tier, but when I look at the games in B tier, Modern Warfare and Modern Warfare 3, I don't think it's as good. But this one is like a C+. This is a top tier C game in my mind. This game introduced supply drops, and I'm not gonna lie, when they came out, they were a lot of fun. Unlocking all of the different character gear, different weapons, it was fun. It was new to the game, it was exciting, and everyone actually at the time really liked it. Did it get egregious? God, yeah, and we're gonna talk about that in a minute. The mechanics in this game were also brand new, the advanced movement style mechanics. And at the time when the game came out, I think a lot of people look back on this and think they hated it, but at the time, people liked the change. They liked that it changed up. However, me looking back on it, this pogo stick movement that was in this game where you bounce up and down all the time, not my thing. Not the type of advanced movement that I really wanted. Out of all of the advanced movement games, I think this movement was probably the worst, but there were still some redeeming qualities. I liked the gunplay. Yes, the BAL was really overpowered and still is to this day, but as a whole, I think it fits nicely at like a C+ Call of Duty game. Next though, Black Ops 3. Nope, that's Black Ops 4. Black Ops 3 A tier. I think this one is like right in the middle between Black Ops and between Modern Warfare 2. I love this game. I love this game. This is when my YouTube channel started to blow up. I love that they introduced specialists in this game with various different abilities. Yes, some of them are very overpowered. I liked the advanced movement in this game. I liked the wall running. It didn't feel too fast where you were just going around like crazy on a pogo stick. You could wall run, you could swim in this game. There was a lot that they implemented that I think added a lot to Call of Duty, and the gunplay was cool, and the weapons that they added were also cool. The only downside, and if this wasn't in the game, it would probably be up there with Black Ops 2. The only downside to this game was the egregious supply drop system. The black market was horrible in this game, and to me, that just knocked it off that pedestal. But I look back on this game, I'm like, amazing maps. I like the movement of this game. I like the DLC weapons. So much of this game was great, including the creative class system. It's an A-tier Call of Duty in my book. Infinite Warfare. Oh, Infinite Warfare. This one is tough for me. I think I gotta put this one a D tier, unfortunately. There's a lot that I didn't like about this game. First of all, when I played this game, it just didn't work all of the time. My game would crash constantly, and I wasn't even playing on PC at the time, so that was a big deal for me. I really liked zombies in this game, honestly. It's one of my favorite zombies mode, but for multiplayer, it was a similar to effect with Call of Duty 4 and World at War from Black Ops 3 to Infinite Warfare. To me, Infinite Warfare was just a worse version of Black Ops 3 with worse maps. Even the graphics I liked less. It just didn't hit for me. And it could be something like we talked about before, where I played so much Black Ops 3 that when a version so similar to it came out and just wasn't quite as good, I was like, what is the point of even playing this? So to me, Infinite Warfare goes in a D tier. I think I might have messed up the order here with the Black Ops and Sledgehammer games, but Black Ops 4 is a B tier game in my opinion. I again think this is a super underrated Call of Duty game. I really enjoyed this game. I think the fact that it released without a campaign, and I know we're not talking about that here, but the fact that it didn't release with a campaign was a really big hindrance to it. And because of that, a lot of people didn't get into it like they normally would have. There wasn't the backstory on the characters, even though there was a really cool backstory with the specialist. On top of that, Blackout was released with this game, and I really enjoyed Blackout. I had nothing wrong with that mode whatsoever. I really enjoyed playing it. It was really fresh for Call of Duty. But I would say the downsides to this game is, again, I would have preferred this game with advanced movement. I think it would have played a lot faster. And again, that's probably an unpopular opinion, but to me, I like Black Ops 3 better than Black Ops 4. However, one thing I did like about this game, the time to kill in this game was a little bit longer. And on top of that, this was the first time, I believe, that they did the thing where if you got an assist, it counted as a kill towards your kill streaks, and that added a lot to the game as well. There was good innovations. I thought the maps were decent. And on top of that, I like the look of it. So yeah, B tier Call of Duty game in my book. Call of Duty World War II. You're gonna see a little bit of a theme here. I just didn't like this game. Really looking back on it, there wasn't anything wrong with this game other than the fact that I just found it boring. Halfway through the game's life cycle, they introduced a patch that really helped with that, but still, I don't know what it was about this game. I just got bored playing it. I don't know if it was the World War II setting or what it was. It was just boring to me, and you're gonna see that again pretty soon. Next up, Black Ops Cold War. I think this one is going at C tier, somewhere around here. It's better than World at War. It's not quite as good as Call of Duty 4 and Modern Warfare 3. So I think C tier is a pretty good pick for it. I really hated the score streak system in this game. I didn't like that you could get them literally every single game, no matter what. I didn't like that whatsoever. Other than that, I didn't really like the setting, kind of played in the same with the World War II genre. And all in all, I just didn't like it as much as I liked the other games above it. Oh, I totally missed Call of Duty Modern Warfare. This one is right in between B and A. If there was red dots on the minimap, I would have this at A. I think that's what I kind of have to lay this out to. To me, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019, if we're not counting Warzone, if we're counting Warzone, I put it up to A tier. But if we're just talking multiplayer here, I think the time to kill was a little bit too fast, which made the gameplay of this game a little bit too campy, which incorporated with no red dots on the minimap and dead silence being a field upgrade. It just made the game a little bit too slow, a little bit too campy, and that's my opinion on it. But I will say, I liked a lot of maps in this game. I liked a lot of things they did with it. I liked the new engine of it, and it played really well. It's just those things could have made it an A tier Call of Duty. I think it would have even been in front of Black Ops 3 for me if those changes were made. Next up, Call of Duty Vanguard. I gotta go with D for this one. It's the exact same as Call of Duty World War II. I just got super bored playing this game. I didn't like the way that you leveled up weapons. It took far too long for me to enjoy. On top of that, I didn't like the camos in the game, so I didn't enjoy grinding for that. On top of that, it had the same no fun factor that Call of Duty World War II did. I got bored playing Vanguard after like 2 games of it, and because of that, I just really didn't enjoy it. Now, you may be wondering, Modern Warfare 2, where does it fall for me? This is going to be controversial, and I think a lot of people are going to disagree with me, so I'm very glad this is taking place at the end of the video. When it comes to Modern Warfare 2, I think it is a very, very good Call of Duty game. I think it is one of the most fun I have had playing Call of Duty in a very long time. I like the weapon leveling system. I think the player progression could be a little bit better and have a little bit more to it, but as a whole, the fun factor of Modern Warfare 2 is very, very high for me. The addition of ranked play also added a lot to me. I like DMZ and Warzone as well, but we're not incorporating those into this video. As far as this game goes, I would put this at a B+ or even an A- on my ranking system. The sad part is this could be a top tier Call of Duty game if more updates were implemented, if more maps were implemented. This would be a top tier game in my opinion. So originally I was gonna put it at an A tier when I first thought about this. However, with the lack of updates, with the lack of maps, and with the lack of focus on multiplayer, and on top of that, the perk system that I don't really like, I think I gotta put this right at a B. That's I think as best as I can do for this one. But I must say, I really do enjoy Modern Warfare 2. I just wish they updated it more. This has been multiplayer. This is my list. I'm very curious what you guys have to say about it. You may completely disagree with me. You may argue down in the comments. Let me know what you think. But if you enjoy this type of video, you want to see me do one of these with campaign, it'll be a completely different list. But if you want to see one with the campaign, hit that like button, subscribe, turn notifications on, let me know. And as always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Until next time, peace out. We are